So James is here, my producer. And I wanted James here because I don't know if he showed me this video or I showed it to him, but we found this video of a woman who appears to be the manager of an apartment building in Baltimore, I believe. St. Louis, Missouri.
Yeah.
In St. Louis, Missouri. And this video is a white woman, is a woman who appears to be white, and a guy who appears to be black. So this guy is coming into this apartment building. The woman is at the door asking, "Who are you? Why are you here?" And he would not tell her. And so he goes into the building. He starts videotaping the woman. And he goes into the building. The woman follows him all the way up to his apartment, what appears to be his apartment. And she watched him unlock the door and go in. And after all that happened, the woman got fired because the guy complained about it or put the video up or something, and the woman got fired. So I wanted to know, what do you think about this, and what does James think about it? And he and I have not discussed it. We discussed it briefly, but not all the way. This is from KMOV 4. Woman fired after a video of her blocking man from entering his downtown loft goes viral. KMOV 4. Here's the news report. Viral video of a white woman blocking a black man from entering an apartment building. This is so interesting. Watch this.
Confrontation between two tenants. A woman stops a man from entering his own loft and demands he show proof he lives there.
Please move, ma'am.
I can. Do you live here?
I'll answer that question. Excuse me.
De'Arion Toles was returning home from a late night at the office.
But you're blocking me.
Into my building.
Okay, and
Okay.
it's my building as well, so I need you to get out my way.
Okay, what unit?
I don't need to say that information. So excuse me, ma'am.
I'm uncomfortable.
Excuse me. Okay, you can be uncomfortable. That's your discretion. You're uncomfortable because of you.
And she blocked his path into the building.
A tenant who lives on the third floor of the Elder Shirt Lofts created a roadblock.
I don't like the fact you have your phone in my face.
Okay, I don't like the fact that you're blocking me for where I pay.
All I'm asking is what unit?
But you're not. I don't need to tell you that information, ma'am.
If you want to come into my building.
It's not your building. You're not the owner. You pay rent.
Sir, you walked up on a street.
Yes, yes, and I've already buzzed in.
Amazing. It is so amazing to me. It's like amazing. So he eventually pushes past her, but she follows him up to his apartment.
Toles shows a fob, moves past the woman who News 4 will not name, takes an elevator to the fourth floor. The woman follows.
Did this really just happen to me? And it did happen to me, so I was really taken away at the moment.
His cell phone video shows the woman staying on him after he uses his key to enter his downtown loft.
No, have a good night, ma'am. Don't ever do that again. You look pretty stupid on video. Have a nice night. And my name's Mr. Toles.
And the last soundbite, he's glad he had his camera, or it might have happened differently.
I was kind of blown away, like shocked, wow. I'm just glad I had my camera out, because if I didn't have my camera out, I feel that it could have went a totally different way.
Millions have watched the video online.
I appreciate all the love and support, and like I said, don't respond negative. Don't go after the lady. Let her be at peace. Let her live her life. I'm not even mad at her. I'm not upset with her. I'm not gonna go after her legally or anything like that. I wish her the best. Still gonna have a conversation with her, a presentable conversation with her.
Well, that's nice.
Yeah.
So James is here, and I wanted to know, what did James think about this? And now that Joel's seen it, I want to know, what does he think, my audio engineer? And what do you think about that?
So I picture this woman. I told you before that I thought this woman seemed crazy.
Yes.
That she was one of those ladies who's a bit overzealous. I don't believe she was the manager of this apartment, and she was fired from a separate job. A job separate from, this is her personal residence.
Well, so she wasn't fired from this apartment building.
No.
She was fired from her other job because of what happened here.
Yeah, which is a minority-owned business, Tribeca-STL.
Minority meaning black people?
Probably.
Meaning color folks?
Could be.
And so she was fired from her job because of what happened in the apartment building?
Yes.
Amazing.
That I don't like at all.
Okay, go ahead.
And I also don't like that this guy, if he really meant all the best for her, he would not have posted this video on social media. Like this video would not have leaked, because a viral video nowadays gets people fired all the time. Or, people go after other people for acting crazy in viral videos. And if you just wanted to have it as evidence in case something happened, I definitely understand him taking the video, but not posting it, because there's a double standard. Like they're only dealing with one side of the issue. She was wrong for being maybe that psycho, but he's not understanding, and nobody else is understanding in the media, that this is St. Louis, and blacks have a negative reputation of entering buildings that they don't belong in and stuff like that, and committing robberies and things. And so she doesn't know who this is. And nowadays, people don't know their neighbors. And so he's not acting as though that's totally understandable for her to be at least concerned. Maybe not go to that extreme with it, but concerned. Because blacks have that reputation, and that's not racism. But people act like it's racism. Like the Fox News headline about it said, "White woman got fired for blocking black man from entering his building." So, so I don't like that part. Nobody else is talking about that other than maybe us.
And how about what the woman did?
The woman was crazy. Like she was.
Was she wrong?
I think that's a good question. I think she was a little crazy. I don't know if she was wrong, but I don't blame him for not giving his information. Like, why would you want to give your room number to some woman who's being like that? People generally want to be private, right? So I don't know if she's wrong, but she seemed a little crazy.
What do you think, Joel?
I think she had a right to say those things, considering what James said, that St. Louis is what it is. But even just because black people's reputation, I feel like she had a right to say that because she wasn't sure. But I felt like he should have gave his unit
Look
number.
over this way at the camera.
Oh, he should have gave his.
He's looking away from the camera.
He should have gave his unit number.
Given
his unit number to her so he can prove that he was innocent or whatever the case is. I feel like she had a right to check him and make sure that he wasn't this crazy guy coming into the apartment complex.
But she's just some woman there at the door. Why should he have to give her that?
Because she is unsure if how safe he would make the apartment. So I understand that she's trying to be security, which is a little crazy, but she's just trying to be cautious. But that's just a reality. And maybe he thought it was racist or whatever the case is, but that's just reality.
Amazing. So I got to take a break. When I come back, I put my little 2 cents in, and then I want to hear from you. What do you think about this situation? It's so interesting to me. So I wanted to hear from Travis. So Travis, you saw this video, and what'd you think of it?
I was offended.
You were offended?
Yeah.
Why?
When I looked at it, I just thought, this is two human beings. One is being cautious of her surroundings. She's living in a neighborhood, statistically speaking, that, where this man could possibly be an intruder. She looked at the situation. She gave him an ocular pat down. Said, "Hey, do you actually live here? What's just your unit number?" And of course, he didn't want to give it. So this blew up into a story that gets, like as James said, the headline: "Black man, right, denied access." This is all just a way. So I actually saw, as I commented on the video, I said, "This is no big deal." I said, "This is just another attempt from the media to sort of paint an everyday racism kind of thing." And someone commented on my comment, and it just this big old diatribe. It was like something about how black people die all the time because of incidents like this. So I hit him back really quick with just a quick, give me one shred of evidence that this has ever happened. Just one piece of evidence, real quick, and I'll wait. And I haven't heard anything back from him. So.
Amazing.
And that's just, that's their attempt to paint everyday racism. That's all.
Amazing.
Yeah.
So when I first saw it, I thought the woman looked crazy because she was kind of weird about it. But I thought about the situation, and I realized black people have brought this upon themselves.
Yeah.
They have brought this upon themselves. They've been so violent over the years. Excuse me. They fight against the police. They fight. We have seen knockout games. We have seen where blacks are going into the urban areas now, or suburbs, and they're attacking white people. They're robbing, raping, and murdering. And rather than stopping it or being corrected, they're blaming it on racism or white people. And so now you have white folks who, they have no other choice but to look out for themselves when they see a black person. They don't know who you are. They don't know you might not be a criminal, or they don't know that you are a professional person. You're black.
Jesse.
And majority of black people are out of control, especially when it comes to dealing with white people and themselves. Look at the crime in Chicago. Milwaukee is one of the most...
St. Louis.
St. Louis is one of the most dangerous areas on this side of heaven.
For real.
And so if you're white, you got to protect yourself.
Jesse, I grew up in Southern Illinois. So I grew up kind of near both of those places. And I can tell you, when you grow up in sort of like the suburbs of Illinois, or growing up away from these cities, it's just like sunshines and daisies, man.
Yeah.
Everybody, it's just all these little white neighborhoods, and we wake up, and all these people get out in the yard, and they mow their yards, they say hi to the neighbors, and it's really lovely. And then as soon as you get in the cities, you know, sometimes me and my family would take the train up to Chicago to watch a Bears game or something. And you'd have to take the train through the south end of Chicago, or we'd go to St. Louis to watch a game or something, and you'd have to go through East St. Louis. And every time it just, you know, you go from America, wow, look how beautiful America is, to what third world country are we in?
That's right.
And it drives me nuts because, you know, this woman, she's right in her place. Because if Don Lemon walked through my apartment door, I would say, stop, who are you? What unit do you live in? You know, I wouldn't care, you know?
And she should not have been fired from her job.
Absolutely not.
What does what happened at her apartment building have to do with what happened at the job?
Outrage culture.
Also, this is to put fear in white people.
Yeah.
Believe me. But it's giving black people a false notion that they're right in what they're doing, too. It's evil.
Don't be afraid. Yeah, don't be afraid.
Yeah. My friend said, Avery said to you, my friend Avery, hi, Avery, good morning, sir. He said, I think James is wrong thinking that the guy was thinking the video was posted to go viral. I believe that viral videos are rare compared to the many videos posted daily. I think the guy actually, and he's referring to the black guy who was trying to get into the building and the white woman wouldn't let him or tried not to let him get in. I think that the guy actually acted like Jesse preaches about daily. He seemed to have no anger, but composed himself greatly and just exposed the lady's behavior to show people something to think about or to learn from. I would have done the same thing. I believe the lady learned a good lesson. The guy doesn't sound like a typical thug. The lady shouldn't have been fired, though. You say to Avery?
I say that he wouldn't have put it out there at all, regardless of whether whether he thought it would go viral.
Yeah.
If he cared about her.
What do you think?
If he cared about his neighbor.
That's a good point. What do you think, Joe?
I think that she had...
Look at the camera.
It's hard.
Oh, okay.
And put yourself on the camera.
Put yourself on camera.
To you, and I want to look here,
right,
or at this picture, and it feels weird looking away. But,
okay, because we see this side of your face and not your front.
I think that there was nothing wrong with what she did, and I think that he should have said the unit. He was calm, but he wasn't really. He was calm, but he still had attitude.
If this guy had meant good for this woman, he would not have put this video out. He got this woman fired. And black people, not all, but you brought this upon yourself. And then I know all black people are not like this, but because you have not dealt with your people, the good are suffering with the bad. Too many of your people are out of control. So the good are suffering with the bad. You got to start correcting black people. Yes, sir.
Whites are suffering along with them. Whites are suffering kind of worse. You know, this woman is getting worse consequences than he dealt with.
By
at
losing
all.
her job and stuff?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And nowadays there's this push by the media and activists to like sue white people for calling police on black people.
And that's because white people have not spoken up over the last 60 years.
Right.
They've allowed the blacks to go out of control.
Yeah.
Amazing.
And now they can't fight back.
Yeah. Jay is the first time call out of Boston, Massachusetts. Jay, thanks for calling. You on the air.
Hey, how you doing, Jesse? I just have a quick question for you.
Yes, sir.
Why do you not like black people and you're black? Why? Can you answer that for me? What is your purpose of saying what you're saying? Black man. You blacks. Why?
Because I love black people. That's why I'm telling them the truth. In order that they may...
Who are you? What is the truth, though? What is the truth? Because what you're saying and what I'm hearing is rhetoric. What you're doing is preaching white supremacy hate. Okay? You need to understand that.
Tell me
I don't
something.
know what black people you're around. I don't know what black people you're around or what ghetto you say you're from. But where I'm from and where I see is not what you described, sir. So you need to stop downing us to make yourself better to these people.
Tell me something I've said that's not true.
Okay, you ready? All black men have attitudes. All black men don't work. All black women just have attitudes. What black woman are you? Do you have a black woman, sir?
First of all, I never said all, so you're not honest.
Yes, you did. You said, "Oh, please." I got you.
No, please. No, I said.
You're being messy.
Listen, I said
He
not
even said
all.
it, Jesse, you're being messy.
Hold on,
Jesse, you're being
Jay.
messy.
Hold on, Jay. I say not all, but most.
Come on. Not all, but most is the same thing, different toilet of saying it. You know that, right?
No, most.
Not all, but most.
So you believe
what
that
does
most.
Mean? Now, so should I say this?
Jay, you believe that most should be all?
No, I don't believe that. No, I don't. No.
So I don't.
Do you believe that all white people are, as you say, the great white hope?
No.
Okay, and why not?
Because they're human beings like you and I, but they tend to have more self-control than most black people.
You and me.
Do you know what a human being consists of? It consists of making choices and having mistakes. You know that, right? God gave us that option, not
but
the
most
angels.
black people
right?
are not making mistakes.
Who are you to judge people? Wait.
Most black people are not making mistakes. You're judging me.
And then you say, "Excuse me."
You're judging me.
No, I'm not judging you.
Yes, you are.
I'm pointing out what you're doing.
But that's all I'm doing. I'm pointing out what most black people are doing.
How many black people do you know? How about this? How many black people do you know?
Back off your phone a little bit.
Hey, Jay, come back from your phone.
How many black people do you know?
Jay, you're too close to your phone, so it's static. It causes static. Calm down.
How many black people do you know?
Much better.
How many black people do you know, sir?
3.
Did you hear what you just said? You're a black man and just said, "I know 3 black people." There's something wrong with that. There's something very wrong with that.
I know Clarence Thomas,
but you want to,
Dr. Carson,
but then this is
and
a
Larry
man
Elder.
who knows only 3 black people, but then want to tell a black man how to be a black man.
But
are you serious?
Do you see that most black men are weak?
No, I don't. That's why I said to you, how can you say that most black men are weak when you only know 3 of them?
Right, but that's why I only know 3.
Ain't no but nothing, sir. Sir, there's no but to it. You're going by what you're saying. Listen to what you say before you speak, because you just sound real stupid right now.
Jay, you're judging me.
I don't mean to disrespect you. But I'm just telling you how you sound.
But you're judging
and if
me.
you sound like this, you are this. You're being messy, Jesse.
Jay, you're judging me, Jay. You coon train. You call me a coon?
That's why you're on the coon train.
Are you calling me a coon?
Sir, yeah, I'm calling you a coon. Hell yeah, I'm calling you a coon.
Here's the coon train.
You are a coon.
So you're judging me.
Okay? You would not be around
coon
real
train.
Black people, and you know that.
Why not?
You would not say that to a real black man.
I'm saying it to you.
That.
Thank you, Jay.
Sir, you're saying it to me with a phone.
Thank you, Jay.
Sir,
back in a moment. Amazing. So, black people, things are not going to get better for you until you do some self-correction. You got to correct yourself. And yes, innocent blacks are going to suffer along with this. When I run into these type of situations, now that I don't have that anger, I understand why it's happening. So I deal with it properly. And watch how the blacks are going to be saying, oh, it's white racism. This is white. Be honest about this. Black people brought this upon themselves. Walter is a first-time caller out of Lexington, Kentucky. Walter, thanks for calling on the air.
Thank you for taking my call, Dr. Peterson.
Just Jesse.
Jesse.
Okay.
I had a similar incident with an apartment manager a few years ago, and I handled it by later calling the police. Okay, and the police gave her a warning. The idea is never block someone's path.
Are you black?
I am a 65-year-old proud white man.
And so you were trying to get into a building, and then was it a black woman or a white woman?
It was a white woman.
Oh, so she was trying to stop you?
Right. I was making a service call to one of her tenants.
Oh, I see. And so she tried to stop you from doing it. And then what happened?
She tried to block my car on the theory she was going to have it towed.
Amazing.
Okay. But at any case, I don't see, you shouldn't ever block somebody's path. That's either a crime, and the police gave her a warning for doing that, or if the guy is malevolent, then you could get hurt. So I wouldn't do that.
And so you're saying this woman was wrong for trying to prevent the black guy from getting in? Or at least
she was
asking?
wrong for trying to block anybody's path.
Amazing. All right. Thank you, Walter. I appreciate it. I heard one black woman call into another show, and she said, can we create a law that can sue white people when they do this or that to blacks? I mean, what is going on? And so I commented on that. I understand why the woman was doing it. And unfortunately, the good have to suffer with the bad sometimes. And in the black community, black people have not corrected themselves. They don't raise decent children. Not all. But they have been told over from generation to generation that white people are evil. And there's such a thing as police brutality. And so young black people, and older too, are acting out. And they're acting out, and they're guilty. But they're blaming white folks. And so you're going to have these type of things happening. In all honesty, white people have no other choice at this point but to look out for themselves. They're under attack. There's been a race war happening against white people for years now, and it's not being reported. And so it seems as though it's not happening, but it is. We saw it with the knockout games. We've seen the attack on white cops, and black people are rewarded for doing these things. We look at the thug Trayvon Martin and Michael Brown and those guys. They were treated like heroes for being thugs. What do you expect to happen? Joel, don't we have some comments online about the white woman and the black guy in St. Louis? Okay, let's have it.
Okay, so the first one is from Donna. I don't know if it's the same Donna.
Okay.
But she says she could have introduced himself, or he could have introduced himself, getting her name and called his manager. Nosy neighbors can be a blessing, so he could volunteer her devices as an official block watcher.
That's a good point. You know, understanding what's going on in our country, understanding how black people, not all, but most black people are out of control, how much they hate white people. The guy could have said, you know what, ma'am, I understand how you feel, but I live here, I live in an apartment, whatever, and but I understand it. It doesn't feel good that you're doing this, but I totally understand it. But black people got to self-correct. Go ahead, another one.
Yep. Linda says, at spoiler alert, she saw a man she didn't recognize. Did she stop every man she doesn't know at the door, or did she stop a black man she saw at the door?
Just the black ones.
And then
This woman should not have lost her job. That's ridiculous. What does what happened at home have to do at what happens at work? It doesn't make sense to me in this case. Go ahead, Joe.
Theodora says, uncomfortable situations like this are why white people want to just live in white neighborhoods because they don't want to be called racist for trying to be safe.
Yes.
Yep.
White people don't have lost the right to even protect themselves when it comes to people of color. Isn't that horrible? Absolute evil. Let's go to Jerry out of Calimesa, California. Jerry, thank you for holding. Go ahead, Jerry.
Yeah, Jesse. I had a similar experience with that. I was helping out a friend who resides in a senior gated community. So in order to enter the neighborhood, you have to go through these sentry gates in your car.
Yes.
So everyone's monitored. So anyways, I kind of took a shortcut because there's manned security gates, and there's usually a long line because people have to be screened one by one. And then there are machine gates. You just put a card in there, and then the gate automatically opens. So I took a shortcut and went in through I didn't want to go through the long line, so I went through the back gate. So the woman that I kind of zipped in the same as when this woman used her card to enter, and the gate opened, and then I tailgated her and entered the neighborhood that way.
Yeah.
And so what happened is that I just proceeded on to my residence, and she followed me like she was being a watchdog for the community.
Are you black, Jerry?
No, I'm not.
Okay.
I'm non-white. And
you're non-white?
Right.
Hold on, Jerry. Hold on. I'll let you finish that story. It's so interesting. Jerry, did you live in that community? Or do you live in that community?
No, my friend did.
Oh,
and
okay.
I was helping him with his maintaining his property.
Okay. And so you drove in behind this woman, and she followed you.
That's right. It's a senior community, so it's a bunch of people with silver hair, typically. So I would say I was conspicuous because I got jet black hair. And anyways, she proceeded to follow me, tailgating me, and I just parked in front of the residence. And then I got out of my car and walked up to her because she just pulled up and stayed seated in her car, probably to call the manager's office or something. But I just walked up to her driver's side window, and we had a civil conversation, and I had documentation that shows that I have business there. So she was satisfied, and that was that. And I don't know if you showed this viral clip. At the end, this gentleman said that he had basically, he wasn't angry or anything. Did you show that much of the video?
Yeah, we showed that.
So I felt the same way. I was annoyed that she was tailgating me for a couple blocks, and then but when I walked up to her window, I sort of understood. She's just concerned about the neighborhood, and I did, and the way and the manner in which I entered. But
so you enter in through the back because you didn't want to wait in the long lines at the long line in the front, right?
That's right.
Oh, okay. What did she say when you walked up to her?
She didn't say much because I anticipated what she was following, and I said, "Are you following because the way I entered?" And then she confirmed, and then I said, "Do you want to see my paperwork? I'm supposed to, because the sentry gates they give you a pass and things like that,
right,
or a daily pass or a weekly pass like that." And she said, "No, that's all right." And then she proceeded back to her own business. That's all. It was pretty a simple confrontation.
Do you think she was right in what she did?
Yeah, I sort of commend her because that's that bottom line is like there's this false premise that people expect the world to be a fair place, like
right.
everything's fair, but it's sort of like they're trying to teach these people that protest this kind of monitoring or caution, that people exercise caution, is that they're trying. What are they trying to say? That if I walk up to an ATM machine, that I don't need to look behind my shoulder if someone's standing.
That's a good point.
I think I'm an equal opportunities. I don't care what color the person is who's standing behind me at the ATM machine. I'm gonna keep my eye on you.
Yeah. That's a very good point. So let me ask Jerry, then I got to run. Do you think this black guy handled that situation right or wrong?
I think he was just sort of creating an entertainment value video or what. He said that near the end of the video, he says, you're silly or you look stupid. That he's sort of being copying a smug attitude, like he knows he's in the right, but he wants to make a fool out of that woman.
Yeah. I remember when we had the terrorist attack, 9/11 terrorist attack, and people became afraid. And then they started this thing, see something, say something. And there were times when people would be flying on airplanes, and if a person looked like an Arab or looked kind of weird or something going on, they would be reported, and in some cases were thrown off the airplane. And people were crying racism about that. But I realized when you're in fear, sometimes you tend to overreact. You trying to protect yourself, and especially with white women, and white Americans right now in fear, and they have a reason to be in fear because they've been so attacked for so long, and no one cares until they have no other choice but to protect themselves. And sometimes they may do it in a weird way, but you got to understand what's going on because they have no other choice at this point but to protect themselves.
Oh yeah, you hit it on the head. What you're referring to is stigma. Black person is suffering the stigma of negative events, robberies and things like that. There's a very relative video by the black comedian Chris Rock. He does a stand-up monologue, and he talks about black people versus the N-word.
Yeah.
Like, he compares black people. He says that black people hate the so-and-so N people too. And then he does a comparison. So that's sort of like what happened with this viral video, is that she doesn't know if that person is a black person or an N-word.
That's right, 100%. And we need to be honest about this so that we can change it for the good. But if we keep pretending, I don't pretend, but if most people keep pretending that it's something else, we're never going to get it right. We can no longer go along with black people acting this way. Not all, but most. Because decent black people know how other black people are, the thugs are. They know how these young black kids are. They need to start dealing with that in order to change the stigma that is there. Otherwise, the good blacks will continue to suffer with the bad. Jerry, thank you so much, man. I appreciate your call.
Sure.
It was a great call. Roberto is out of Idaho. Roberto, thank you for calling and thanks for holding. You're on the air.
Good morning, Jesse.
How you doing, sir?
I'm doing just fine, thank you. I had a comment about the viral video for come out of St. Louis.
Where the white woman tried to stop the black guy from getting into his own place where he lived.
Correct.
Go ahead.
And so my comment is that the gentleman should have introduced himself, and he should have invited that lady, the neighbor, up to his apartment, invited for coffee, and introduce himself and try to get to know his neighbors. She might be looking out for him too then.
Well, I don't know if he should have invited her into the apartment because she could have cried rape after that.
That's true. You got to have at least a second party.
Right. So I think that he should have said who he was. I live here, my apartment here, and the situation would have ended differently because of the way things are for white people, how they're under attack, how the blacks are attacking the whites. Not all blacks, of course. I think he should have been more like that. Also, he should not have put it out there on video like that if he really meant well to the woman.
Yes, I understand. So it seems to me like these neighbors, they need to get to know each other better so that at least they'll be good neighbors.
Yeah, you're right about that. And one of the problems in our country today is that we don't know our neighbors. We don't know who is who. And you're right, it would have helped that he has introduced himself. I live here, I'm your neighbor, how you doing? I really understand your concern. And the woman done the same thing. It would have turned out differently had that been handled in that manner. But
yeah, that would have been a good Christian way to handle it.
But you know what the problem is when not all, but most black people encounter things like that with white people, automatically their mind go to work and start working on them immediately. This is racism. They're only doing this to me because I'm black. And because they're angry, they believe those lies, and they create a situation that is not necessarily what's happening.
I agree.
Yeah. Roberto, thank you, sir. I appreciate your call.
Thank you.
All
you
right.
Have a good day.
You too, buddy. Dave is out of Los Angeles. Dave, thank you for calling. You're on the air, sir. Hey, Dave.
Hey, Jesse.
How you doing, sir?
I'm good. How are you? I agree with you. It's a spiritual battle, man.
That's for sure.
And just with that, regarding that video of that white lady, I think that she was in the wrong, actually. After he said, he was in the building, she should just left it at that and gone about her business. But I also don't think he should have posted it.
Right. Why do you think he pulled the camera out and started videotaping?
Well, at that point, maybe he was just kind of show how ridiculous it was, but then he shouldn't have posted it if he didn't want anything for it to continue. Then he shouldn't have posted it because then it became an issue, She should have let it go away. She said as soon as she sized him up, but then she took it too far by keeping on following him and stuff.
But how about when she asked, "Did you live here?" He could have said, "Yes, I do live here. I live in an apartment."
He did, I think.
And kind of because white people are afraid now, and they have a reason to be of black people.
I don't know. I don't think white people are necessarily frightened. I don't think most black people fear white people either. I think it's more of a hype by the media. I think most people get along with each other, man, if they're just around each other. And
you said you don't believe that you don't believe that most white people are afraid of black people?
No, I don't think so, man.
No, most people of other races are afraid of black people because most black people are so violent.
I don't think most black people are violent. I think there's a segment of people that are violent. There's a segment of white people that are violent. But most people get along. If you see, most people will get along with each other if they're just around each other for a minute. But
whites can only get along with blacks if they go along with blacks. Hold on, Dave. Back in a moment. I want to go quickly back to, I believe it was Dave. And Dave was saying that with this incident in St. Louis, a black man tried to get into his apartment building that he lived in to go into his apartment. This white woman was questioning him at the door. She wanted to know that you live here. Who are you? The guy didn't want to respond, but he did somewhat. He got past the woman. She followed him all the way to his apartment there, and he like, "You shouldn't go away. You look stupid. Go away." The guy put the video out there. The woman got fired. That should not have happened. Whether she was right or wrong, whatever happens at home stays at home. Even men who get fired for having an argument or fight with their wives and they go to work, they lose their job. That doesn't make sense to me. When two human beings come together, you're going to have some disagreement. And that should not affect your employment. That's another bad law that needs to be changed. You're going to argue with your wife. You're going to argue with your husband. Why should you lose your job? I remember the guy out of Los Angeles. He was married. He owned a football team, James? The white man owned a basketball team, the Clippers, and he was dating some black woman on the side, and she videotaped him saying things about, I don't want you hanging out with those black basketball players or something. The guy lost his whole team. What does his relationship have to do with what happens at work? But that's what we have in America because we've allowed the children of the lie to take over. Let me go to Dave. Dave, go ahead, buddy. Thank you for holding.
Hey, my pleasure. Hey, what you said for the last several minutes is so right on point, man. Everything you were just talking about the last several minutes is so right on. I want to say thank you for that because that's what we need, man. We need more truth tellers like you. You know what I'm saying? Like,
and I want more and more men and women who love what's right to stand up and tell the truth, and let's not go along with the children of the lie.
That's right. That's right. God bless, man. I just want to put in my 2 cents and thank you, man. Thank you for doing what you're doing and appreciate it.
You're welcome, Dave. Thank you, buddy. Let me go to Jason, a first-time caller out of Bay Area, California. Jason, thanks for calling and thanks for holding. You're on the air.
What's up, Jesse? How you doing this morning?
All is well, sir. How are you?
I'm doing pretty good. I had called about a couple things. First, that woman should have never lost her job. I know a friend of mine told me about the incident. I watched the video. Losing her job just seems going a little too far, but what we have happening in this country right now is basically race baiting and attention seeking.
Yes.
And so what that young man did was put the video out there so that he could say, look, everybody, I'm being discriminated against. But I think it's that woman's right to kind of inquire about someone she didn't know coming into her building. That was number one.
But let me and also two, I believe they got to fire because that's going to put fear in other white people. So you're going to find more and more white people not speaking up now and not questioning their neighbors or knowing what's going on for fear of getting fired now.
Right. Yeah, I definitely didn't agree with the firing. Number two, and actually the real reason I gave you a call this morning is I wanted to thank you. I recently sat my mother down and forgave her for all the things that she did to me when I was a kid, and you know I wanted to say that anybody listening who had fear or trepidation about approaching their mother and forgiving them, just go ahead and do that because I do feel a sense of peace within myself now.
Yes.
Everything that you say about that is 100% true. And like this morning earlier, there's a man calling you a coon and all this stuff, and all I heard was anger.
Yes.
All I heard was the same anger that I've had when I, growing up. It was the same anger, and I heard it. And ever since I forgave my mother this past weekend, it was gone. It's gone. So I wanted to thank you for that.
That's amazing, Jason. I'm glad to hear that, man, and I hope you can help spread the word to all people, but especially black men and women, because that's where that anger is coming from. And if they don't go and forgive their mothers, they're never going to get over it.
Yeah, true indeed. Again, man, I appreciate you. I hope you have a great, wonderful rest of your day.
You too, Jason. Thank you so much, man. A powerful testimony. Thank you, buddy. Amazing.
No problem.
All right. Amazing. Men and women, go and forgive. Then you can love all people, not just your father and mother, but all people.